St. Louis has been struggling for decades from multiple different issues impacting the city. A lot of this stems from its deindustrialization, but regardless of the causes, the city has been doing its best to try and recover from the major slump it took in the mid-20th century, with mixed results. However, one of the most impactful improvements the city made during this time was investing in its public transportation. St. Louis saw a lot of investment in its intercity transit, with projects like the Gateway Transit Center that saw the creation of an intermodal station for both trains and intercity buses in St. Louis. The city also saw improved rail connections both in speed and frequency to Chicago on the Lincoln Corridor. Though that higher speed rail service was mostly provided in funding by the state of Illinois, these definitely were major transit improvements for St. Louis. However, the biggest investment St. Louis made into itself was by creating its own light rail system. In 1993, the first portion of Metrolink, which is St. Louis's light rail system, opened to a ton of fanfare. Even at the time, President Clinton showed up to its opening, and after seeing success, the line saw a whole bunch of small extension projects over the next 15 years, even connecting it across state lines. And if you want to learn more about Metrolink's history, I have a video on it here, because it's been about 18 years since Metrolink saw any major extensions. So what's Metrolink up to? Are they up to anything at all? Well, let's see what they're cooking over at Metrolink St. Louis. While Metrolink hasn't done any major system-changing projects in the last 15 years, they have completed a bunch of smaller projects, the first one being the creation of a new station. Cortex is an infill station that was built between Grand and the Central West End station. Metrolink came to a public-private partnership, also known as a P3, with businesses in the area to build the station. Cortex also opened alongside the first part of the Brick Line Greenway. This is a trail system that's currently being built around St. Louis and will hopefully connect the station with micromobility by using mixed-use trails. Another major project Metrolink just completed work on was the DeBolver Signal House platform. The original signal platform was damaged in a flood back in 2022, and the improvements to the signal platform will improve speeds after DeBolver Station and protect the signal house from future flooding. But those really are just minor projects that any transit agency might do. Nothing really that ambitious or system changing. But what about their upcoming plans? One of the main projects that Metrolink is currently engaging in is the improvement of their existing stations. And this currently consists of multiple ongoing projects. One of the major projects that Metrolink is working on is tunnel and station repair with its stations in downtown. While this project isn't going to involve any major changes for passengers, it's big in terms of its preventative maintenance, as these tunnels are some of the oldest active rail tunnels in the world, and a combined effort to repair them and the stations with them are going to be vital to maintain service. Take notes, MBTA! Another project they're working on is improving some of the tracks on the curves around some of the sharpest turns in the system to help increase safety and speed on the line. However, Metrolink's most noticeable station change will be its change from being a proof of payment system, where customers would tap their fare cards on a fare validator before boarding a train, over to a turnstile-based system. This change is also coming with an improvement with security monitoring at stations on the line. You might be able to guess this, but Metrolink is using security as a justification for this change. They've also brought up farebox recovery as a reason for this change as well. Now, I totally understand the safety concerns that many people have for public transit, but let's take a look at these fare gates. Oh boy, it looks like a prison entrance. Yeah, Metrolink should have definitely done a better job on making their transit look a little bit more inviting than this. I really wish they would have gone with the strategy of using more transit ambassadors like many other agencies are using, which not only help improve security but make transit more inviting, but okay. These fare gates are going to be rolling out to different stations over the next couple of years, and their plan is to have the system fully converted to using fare gates by late 2025. Metrolink has been running since 1993, and one thing that's stayed pretty constant with the system has been its rolling stock. And while Metrolink has done a really good job of maintaining their trains, they're still getting pretty long in the tooth regardless. And Metrolink has realized this because for the past few years, they've been looking into replacing their current fleet of Siemens SD460s, which they got between 2000 and 2005, as well as their SD400s, many of which have been running on Metrolink since it's opened back in 1999. 1993. The new vehicles that Metrolink will be acquiring are the S200 light rail vehicles manufactured by Siemens Mobility. These new vehicles have already proven their worth on other systems currently using them, such as the C-Train in Calgary and Muni Metro in San Francisco. The current delivery date for the S200s to Metrolink is scheduled for 2026. This order was actually made alongside another Midwest Transit Agency order for S200s from the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Agency, who is also replacing their older rolling stock on their light rail. This modernization of rolling stock will not only come with reliability improvements, but improvements to accessibility, wayfinding, and passenger comfort as well. What's super cool is that Metrolink isn't the only agency in Missouri that's getting new trains. But if you want to learn more about what Missouri's other major city is up to, then consider joining my Patreon, because for just $1 a month, you can get extra content, early access to videos, your name in the credits, and more. The link is down below, but let's talk about the most exciting projects that Metrolink is up to. Everyone loves the big transit projects, and even small transit extensions are still pretty big projects for all transit agencies. At the moment, Metrolink has 2 expansion projects that they're pretty serious about doing. The first project being a 5.5-mile long extension of the Red Line east to the terminal at Mid-America Airport. This project already broke ground back in late 2023, and is looking at an estimated completion date of 2026. The extension will connect St. Louis's second airport to the Metrolink system. This airport has in recent years become a fairly large job center, mostly with manufacturing, but it's also grown as a commercial airport mainly among ultra-low-cost carriers. The line's extension will also be adding about 5 miles in trails along the right-of-way, allowing for better last-mile connections to be made. A lot of this funding from the project came from the state of Illinois from a program called Rebuild Illinois that was approved by the state government back in 2019. While the station isn't currently around a lot of residential developments, it's possible that residential development might come to the station in the future, and with large amounts of jobs near the station, it's still likely to become a major trip generator for Metrolink. One of the biggest problems with the Metrolink network is pretty obvious if you look at it on a map. I'll give you a second. Do you see it? Or I guess it's what you don't see, because Metrolink has 0 lines that run from north to south. Both the blue and the red lines generally run from east to west, minus the points of the lines where they go further outside of downtown. This gap in service leaves many neighborhoods without rail transit in the city. A lot of these neighborhoods are currently served by the 70 Grand, which runs north to south and is actually a pretty frequent bus service. However, the 70 makes up a huge chunk of the city's bus ridership, and Metrolink wants to upgrade the capacity of this highly frequented transit corridor. So they've proposed a solution, a north-south running Metrolink line. Honestly though, it's not any breaking news that Metrolink wants to build a north-south line. They've been coming up with plans for it ever since Metrolink has existed. However, none of the plans for this north-south alignment have ever come so far along in the process as this one has. For one, the alignment and station placement of this route has already been decided. The current plan for the line would be to have it run along Jefferson Avenue, between Chippewa Avenue and Natural Bridge Avenue. The new line, nicknamed the Green Line, would differ quite a bit from the red and blue lines. Since the Green Line wouldn't be using any existing rail right-of-ways, it would run at grade on the street like systems in cities such as Phoenix, San Diego, or Portland do, rather than being grade separated like the existing red and blue lines are. This would provide accessibility benefits, but would likely run slower than the red and blue lines. Despite this, the major benefits of improving development and transit accessibility of the neighborhoods along the right-of-way would be a major benefit to the residents of St. Louis. However, another issue with the system would be its rolling stock. It's likely that for ease of station building, that Metro would go with lower floor light rail vehicles. This would differ from their existing trains that operate high floor light rail vehicles, thus adding on more training for maintenance and making maintenance less standardized. Despite these new operational challenges Metrolink would face, the new line would be incredibly beneficial for those who live along its route, adding new opportunities to some of the city's most neglected neighborhoods. This future line already has proposed extensions too, that would have it turn east and run along Natural Bridge Avenue, but that's still quite far out, and we'll still have to see what first happens with the Green Line. St. Louis is a city that I find completely underappreciated. Despite its challenges the city has faced, it's looking at a transit future that could be very promising to the residents of the city and the greater St. Louis metro area. Even though it still has a long way to go, these projects, whether big or small, have shown that St. Louis is willing going to plan for the future and provide opportunities for those in the city. St. Louis is still very far off from being a good transit city, but it has promise and it's doing a lot right now to try and fix the wrongs of the 20th century car-centric planning. We will see what happens with all these projects, and hopefully they can make St. Louis an even better place to live. But how do you feel about Metrolink? Do you think they'll be able to make these improvements? How would you improve the Metrolink system? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to thank everybody who helped me make this video, and also I want to give a very special thank you to all of my patrons, especially Tony Stunts, who's in my Metro tier. Want to support the channel, get some extra content, see videos early, and get your name in the credits? Then consider joining my Patreon. The link is down below. Also, while you're down there, consider checking out my other socials. I post updates and extra content there. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Your views, likes, and support are greatly appreciated, and as always, I'll see y'all on the next one.